All right, right now we're going to talk about rounding with whole numbers and decimals. And one of the things to help you remember is a little jingle is if it's 5 and above, you're going to give it a shove, meaning you're going to round it up to the next number. If it's 4 and below, you're going to let it go, meaning that number is going to stay the same. It doesn't drop down, it stays the same. Okay, so let's use our board and look at an example of how that works, okay? So let's do a whole number first. Let's say I have the number 3,724, and I need to round to the thousands place, okay? So round to the thousands place. The first thing you need to do is actually go to the number that's in that place that it's asked you to round to. So in this case, it's the thousands. I'm going to underline the number in the thousands place. I'm going to circle that number next door, okay? And the reason we circle it is because that number right there helps determine, does this number go up or does it stay the same? That's where our 5 and above, give it a shove, 4 and below, let it go, comes in. The other reason we circle this number is because it lets us know, because this looks like a 0, from here on out, every other number will turn into a 0. So I've underlined the 3, I've circled the 7, 5 and above, give it a shove, 4 and below, let it go. 7 is bigger than 5, so that means this 3 is going to turn into a 4. So 3 turns into a 4, I put my comma, everything else turns into a 0. So if I round 3,724 to the thousands place, it's going to round to 4,000. Okay, let me do another couple examples. Okay, let's say I have 223, and I want to round to the tens place. Okay, so obviously I'm going to underline the number of the place it's talking about. There's the tens place. Circle the number next door. Okay, 5 and above, give it a shove. 4 and below, let it go. This is a 3 that is below 4. This is not going to change. It's not big enough to change that number. So we keep this number the same out here. That's going to stay the same. This turns into a 0 now. So 223, when we round to the tens place, rounds to 220. Okay, so it doesn't matter how big the number is, you always round to whatever place it's talking about, underline it, circle the number next door, and then 5 and above, give it a shove, 4 and below, let it go. Now for decimals, it's very similar. The whole process is the same, except our places are a little bit different. So in decimals, if I have this decimal right here, 324 thousandths, this is in the tenths place. This is in the hundredths place. And this is in the thousandths place. Okay? There is no once place in decimals. We have the tenths, we have the hundredths, we have the thousandths. That's all you really need to know for 4th grade. So just remember those place values. Okay, so let me get rid of this, I have a little more room. If I want to round to the tenths place, okay, I find the number that's in the tenth spot. So that's a 3. Circle the number next door, just like I did before. Okay, 5 and above, give it a shove. 4 and below, let it go. This 2, it's not big enough to make that 3 go up. So the 3 is going to stay the same. Everything else is going to turn into a 0. So this would round to 300 thousandths. Now it's also possible that you might see this as your answer on an SOL, just 3/10, because 3/10 is the same thing as 300 thousandths. Because if we don't see another number after this number right here, we can always assume they're zeros. So this is the same thing. This would literally be the same thing, to the same number. It's just, zeros taking spots of numbers that aren't there anymore. Okay, so rounding whole numbers and decimals, as long as you know your places, you'll do a great job with this. Okay, so remember, underline whatever place it's talking about, circle the number next door, use your little jingle, 5 and above, give it a shove, 4 and below, let it go. If it's 5 and above, it's going to knock that number up. If it's 4 and below, that number's will stay the same. From where you circled, everything else is going to turn into a 0. Okay, rounding whole numbers and decimals, very easy stuff, something you definitely got to get right on the SOL.